Good.
Right, amazing. Hello everyone, welcome back to our Pathfinders. I can't believe you actually did it. You tried it
Yeah,
last Wednesday.
if you don't know a language, just make it up.
Yeah, exactly.
Goes pretty well in.
Anyway.
Yeah, it goes pretty
Yeah.
well if you just raise your voice loudly,
Yeah,
and then people will understand you.
yeah, amazing. So, how's everyone doing? Good, ready to go?
Good,
Ready?
Hell yeah.
Nice. Okay, so last we left. Let me put some music on, maybe. might work. Yeah. So last we left off, the party had escaped from this jungle sort of island that you had shipwrecked kind of at after having come attacked. After your ship having been attacked by a bunch of corrupted Kiraxes, so you ended up sending the ship over there to get fixed. And when you arrived at the island, you discovered that there was the ruins of the city of Elendor, which is this ruined elven city that had been lost to the wilds, and everyone within it had somehow turned to stone. So you sort of like learnt the story a little bit through the mind stones of the priests who had been left there, who had left them there, who had died there, and you discovered as you entered the volcano that there was some sort of divine ancient prison for some creature that lived within the volcano. Vance, Henning's patron, seemed very interested in having returned there, and felt a bit worried that there was a presence that that was a lot more powerful than he thought it might have been. And there was a bit of a showdown between these two, between this shadowy being in the volcano and Vance. And Vance managed to get you out of there, but he since collapsed and has seemingly disincorporated as the ship moved on. So you've been at sea now since leaving the island for about 6 days, and you're coming up to Kelrius maybe in the next couple of days or so. Henning, every day that you have woken up, you've had strange kind of dreams just before you wake up of fire. Literally just that sort of jolts you awake in the morning. But every time you wake up, you look around to see if Vance is there. It hasn't returned yet. As for the rest of you, what's everyone been up to on their journey so far?
Learning new spell and casting it.
Nice. Yeah, you've had a lot of time to sort of just to kick back and relax. There's not that much that needs to be done on the boat. And since having sorted out that volcano issue, there hasn't been any of these sort of strange, weird storms attacking you and the ship. So it's been quite a safe ride, really. And yeah, you've been able to cast magic without feeling like something's gonna cause a problem.
Can we do something in the hold with Cascus?
Yeah. But what's Cascus doing?
So he's kind of been going down now and again. I don't know, like, if the rest of the party know that, like, she's there / they're there. They know Snarkenstot's there. They've kind of been going around, but I don't know.
Well, has Cascus been like making an effort to sort of
Probably
conceal it? Well, in that case, there's no reason for anyone to have come down into your room.
Yeah. Well, she's been showing him. She's been teaching him to do a bit of art. Specifically, like kind of tattoo patterns.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
So that could have been going on.
Yeah, she's sort of got a quill in her hand. She sits on the bed and she shows over an interesting sort of almost like tarot card like design that she's been working on. She says, "My father never liked it when I did art."
Where was that?
Well, it's just not very. He always wanted a boy, really. I think he wanted someone to go into the business after him, and he's quite old-fashioned. So he sort of raised me to do that.
Where I am from, this is not such as much a thing.
No.
No. Well, the north coast of Copenhagen is a fairly wild place sometimes. I think if you go your life living by the rules, you end up in a gutter. So I suppose society, in some sense, adapted.
Did you grow up there?
I spent most of my time in Taz. I do not know if that means anything to you.
No, I was born here, grew up here. This is all I've known.
Well, I'm glad you will get to see Arcade. It is a big world out there. Far bigger than you could ever imagine.
Yes, I visited Calrius with my dad maybe about 10 years ago,
Oh,
but I don't remember much of it.
I suppose it cannot be too much different to Port Edron.
Oh, no, it is very different. You'll see. It's a beautiful city. It was made by the elves.
Well, I look forward to it, and I know we talked about it briefly before, but you put a lot out. Well, not just for yourself, but also me to get you to Kelrius. What did you want to do here?
I have family who... Well, it's a long story. There's an inheritance I need to pick up.
Well, if you wanted to tag along, I'm sure you would be more than welcome to. I'm low on friends these days. I don't like. I'm new to the term friends as well. But, I'm sorry. I'm probably blabbing a little.
And she sort of giggles. On the deck of the ship, Hank is just bounding Calcifer, like just bounding around, like chewing bits of rope on the side. Don Navigante shouts over, "Get that dog away from that!"
Leave it, leave it.
He looks over. The ship continues on. So, is there anything you want to do for the last couple of days of the journey, or Cyan, what are you doing?
Cyan's kind of pacing in his room. I don't know which way exactly he got to Port Edron. I imagine he came through Calrius, right?
Yeah, you probably picked up a ship from Calrius, but you probably didn't stay for very long.
But he probably gets the idea that they don't really like elves.
Oh well, there's quite a large elven population in Calrius, so it's just a lot of the merchants tend to look down on them.
Right. Okay.
Like they are like institutionally sort of oppressed, you know.
Yeah. Cyan's probably just a little anxious about seeing elves again. He hasn't seen much elves other than Hanera
Yeah.
in a while, so it's getting used to elven society again is a bit of a headache.
Yeah. Nyx sort of appears next to you.
Oh, hello there.
Oh,
I can tell there's something up. She says.
Why would there be something up? There's always something up. The sky is up. Yes.
I think that I don't know. Kelrius. I don't remember much of it before. We didn't stay for very long, did we?
No. To be honest, I wanted to get us out of the cage as soon as possible, and now we're on our way back. Yay!
Well, you had to find your way back at some point.
True. I don't know, Nyx. I'm a bit of a mess, to be honest. I wanted to go back. I wanted to stay away. I wanted to do both, and now it's like my choice was made for me. I don't know if I was ready to go back.
I think sometimes if you wait until you're ready, you'll never get there. But
True. sometimes you just have to
Do
jump.
it.
Yeah. How are you feeling anyway? It's we've had quite a time.
I've been having dreams.
Dreams. What kinds of dreams?
I don't know. Narsamel.
Been dreaming about Narsamel.
When I heard his name, I knew it.
And you could see him in your dreams, or do you just know that he was doing things?
I don't know. If I'm not sure if it was if it's even the same Narsamel. But they're like dreams of this city in the gloom. Narsamel's. He's done something to it.
Do you think you might have come from there?
I don't know. I don't know how.
You. Forgive me. Do you think you're. This is gonna sound really bad, but I'm going to need. But I have to ask. Do you think you're dead?
I don't think I'm dead. I don't know what dead is.
I mean, Henning's dead, I think, but he's still around.
Hmm.
I
I
don't
don't
know.
think I'm dead.
Just different. I just I don't understand. If you're not like the other Fae,
Hmm.
and but you share all the other qualities, like no one else could see you. I don't know if Vance could see you before.
I don't know. I couldn't see Vance. I was as surprised as you were when he appeared. That's another thing. Sir Raphael. That's another name I know for some reason.
You said Narsamel made you feel bad. The name made you feel bad.
Yeah.
Did Seraphiel make you feel anything? Did it make you feel happy? Or
No, not in the same way. Don't think I really felt anything with hearing that name. Just
yeah.
recognition. Anyway, she says like, "Oh, I need to think about it anyway," and she disappears after a while.
Okay.
So, yeah, last couple of days then passes, unless there's anything particular anyone wants to do before before the ship arrives at Kelrius.
Just one thing. I guess towards the end, Cascus is going to use what's effectively an illusion kit on himself to make him appear human. It's kind of like it's a racial trait, but it's like it has to be the kind of the race
Okay.
that he technically is.
Yeah, sure.
I guess, yeah. The reason isn't necessarily unclear at this point, but he just kind of.
Okay. Yeah, how are you? So how are you? Sort of like, what do you look like then?
I mean, it's literally the same. Just there's no horns, no yellow skin. Instead, it's kind of a, I suppose fairly tanned, skin color. There's still like, if you look closely at his eyes and you look close enough and long enough, you notice there's something. It's almost like slits instead of kind of the traditional
Yeah.
eyes you'd usually see. But as a glance or fairly, reasonable distance away, you just think they're kind of fairly kind of yellowy eyes, not yellowy eyes rather, but like kind of hazelnutty, but slightly kind of closer to yellow. So passable. And his fingers are fairly standard and of a fairly normal build and height.
Mm-hmm. All right. So after you don your disguise, You walk out, and Hanera like bumps into you in the hallway. And you look at you look up and you see. I mean, it's obviously Cascus, but how? You know, it just looks like a human version of Cascus. Maybe it's like his twin brother or something.
Cascus,
Hey, Nera.
what have you done?
I thought it was time for a bit of a change. You see, if we're going to these elf lands, I do not think they want to see a demon walking around, do they?
But you don't have horns anymore.
I do not.
How did you do that?
Oh, it's just a bit of magic I picked up, you know.
What? Okay.
Is there a problem, or
No.
okay?
I'm just surprised that you would want to have horns.
Surprised that I would want to have horns.
Yeah, because people would be mean to you about it. So why didn't you do this before?
Look, okay, I've taken some knocks recently, and I just thought, you know, why not? That's all it is for now.
Okay.
Out in the hallway, just like anyone can, if they want to walk past, they can.
Oh.
The-
Oh. No. Cascus?
There's only one of me.
Well, I thought it was you, but something has changed.
God. Okay, everyone. Can we just get this out the way, please, now?
Has he had a
Wait.
haircut?
This attention on me, I
Wait.
don't like it right now.
What?
Are you?
All right,
wearing
honey.
a new
Wait,
arm?
Cascus?
Yes, Cactus.
Are you wearing-
That's the top. I love.
I know.
I've
It's a
had
new
a
it's a
shave.
new aftershave, isn't it?
Yeah.
You smell different. That's what it is.
Thank you. I have been mixing it up a little.
Personally, I think like the last fight might have taken a couple inches off him. He might have gone a little bit shorter.
No, that was too much. You know I'm a little sensitive about my height.
I am sorry.
You hear the
Okay, short
bustling.
kings unite.
You hear the bustling of sailors on the deck above, as you hear a bell ring, and someone's shout, "Land spotted!"
That's not what I read in the books.
You say it differently here. It's one of the sailors as they bustle past. Don Navigante is barking orders on the deck as you sort of look into the distance. The first thing you see is this large sort of mountain that bustles out of a sort of cliff face in the distance. It's shining gold almost, like it's got a sort of almost the top of it, like where there'd normally be snow on a mountain, there's this sort of almost deposit of like golden something that's shining in the sky. Towards the base of the mountain is this huge bustling city made of elven architecture. You can see that it's sort of been heavily influenced by human occupation. You know, like a lot of the newer buildings and a lot of the dock is human design stuff that they've expanded and used their influence on. But the actual old part of the city is these tall spires and grand archways and ancient sort of stone constructions. A lot of the roofs are made out of this sort of almost green material. So like a lot of the roofs of the buildings around are green, and there's a sort of green. So it almost looks like the canopy of a forest. As the ship like slowly begins to bring itself into the bay, let me show you what you see. This is the Kelris map.
Don't own any token with vision in this scene.
Oh no, I didn't buy the DLC.
Yeah, no, I just need to turn that off.
The Legend Rising DLC.
Can you see it now?
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah. So the mountain is sort of down here. So like the city, as the city goes off, it goes off into higher and higher elevation. So the ship comes around, and you notice that there's two sort of main docks. Over this side, on the west docks that it's approaching, are all the merchant ships, the large cargo ships. One's carrying people, and the East Harbour is all fishing vessels. So a lot of the bay is filled up with fishing vessels going out, trawling for like clams and crabs and lobsters and things like that. But eventually you arrive at the west docks. Don Navigante sort of expertly steers it into one of the bays for the huge sort of caravel type ships, and within a matter of minutes, he's effectively moored it. So after a little period of winding down and a lot of the sailors starting to attach the sort of mooring ropes, Don Navigante approaches you all and says, "All right, well, we've arrived."
Thank you.
Thank you very much for your journey.
It took long enough.
It was nice arriving on a ship the way you're supposed to and not washed up on a beach somewhere.
Aye,
It's a little joke there.
I'm
Well-
sorry again for your friends.
It's all right. It's all right. Their families live in this city, so I'll be able to tell them. As for if you ever need a ship and I'm around, give me a call. I'll be happy to let you anyway, especially after the events on that island.
And where could we find you?
I usually transport between Kelrius and Port Edrin. That's my main thing. But I feel like my ship's going to be more and more used in the Navy now against the Banking Guild.
Oh, what will you be doing with Aiden?
Oh, right. Yes. I think he's. I think he's probably going to stay with us for a bit.
Please look after him. He's a good lad.
Yeah, he's not. He's had a rough few days. He's been recovering. But next time you're about, I think Aiden will want to speak to you.
Of course.
Right. Well, we'll be around in the city for a few days, but if you go to the Shining Spire, that's where the Merchant Prince is. If you wish to speak to him. Otherwise, feel free to explore.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Right. So the city of Kelrius, you're currently in the West Docks. Sort of having a bit of a look around and just getting your bearings in the city. The West Docks are known for being the main hub for trade and commerce in Kelrius. So ships from all over the world come to dock there, and they bring with them like exotic wares and goods to trade with the elves and trade between the elves. If you have any questions about any particular areas of the city or things you want to do, feel free.
What's the high elevation? Is there clearly a bit that's higher, or what's the kind of skyline that other than obviously the mountain? But are there any notable, I don't know, things that prop up?
So from here, all the West Docks area seems to be kind of Lavari style warehouses and houses similar to Port Edrin. Often made using a lot of the ships that they came over on. However, at the further down in the city and around the Shining Spire you go, so the Moonside and Sunlit Promenade, it's sort of almost a mishmash of different size kind of square elven houses, all sort of piled on top of each other. There's very narrow streets and there's a lot of different height elevations. And every now and again there's little sewer grates that go into almost like a series of catacombs and tunnels underneath the city that occasionally people go missing in and get lost in. But it's said that all of these areas originally the elves used to live underground before they began moving on top. So all these tunnels were from the ancient thousands of years ago. Hanira and Cyan, do you want to do a society check? Or
Okay.
or history, depending, whichever one you'd want to do. These, you know.
There's no history.
Oh,
It would be a law.
it'd be law. Yeah, if you have like elven law, but otherwise you could just do society if you want.
I have genealogy.
That could do. Or religion as well. Like Kelris is a very important religious city.
16.
Okay.
19.
Okay, so Cyan, yeah. So you know about the city that Kelris has been a city for thousands of years. Historically, it is where Eretzar was born, and he sort of became who he was up on the mountain that's nearby. The mountain being called Eldrinador. Eldrianor. Yeah, I'm looking at my notes. And it's said that it turned gold when Eretzar sort of like ascended to like religious prophecy kind of status.
I take it this is a very holy city and elven faith.
It is, and that's a big part of the sort of embarrassment to the elves because the humans took this city from them, and made them sign it over in a peace treaty. So they still allow like elves to travel there, in like a pilgrimage. So, elves generally at some point make that pilgrimage. But yeah, like there we go.
Elves
So
are bitter.
yeah, the elves are particularly bitter about it.
They should pull these shrines down. It is, at least where I am from, Eretzar is, it is not a good cookie.
Yes, well, this was the elven home first.
Perhaps, but he dealt a terrible interference wherever he came. He nearly brought the world to its knees. What is to celebrate there?
I don't think it's that simple. A lot of human kings and monarchs are treated as heroes and gods. And, well, quite simply, I doubt the people they conquered have the same opinion. Who knows if the humans have it right, the elves have it right, or anyone has it right? We're just being told a story that's been, quite frankly, dead for thousands of years.
Even so, the shrines, they leave a bit of a bitter taste in my mouth.
Yeah, well, I'm not fond of elven faith either.
So, does anybody know any good places to go in the city? In Eretzar, and perhaps, dens of debauchery and gambling and those types of things.
We can find the bathhouse.
Another bathhouse? I'm not sure. We have spent a lot of time together, friends. But I do not know.
We do love a good bathhouse.
I think I've had enough water for the time being, actually.
We've all been on a ship. None of us has bathed in like weeks.
We all do stink quite bad.
Thank you,
Only so much you can really do with a bucket and sponge, to be honest.
Maybe
I mean,
we should.
there's places on me I can't reach.
Maybe we should go there before we meet the merchant prince.
Yes.
Well, you could find somewhere to freshen up, and like an inn. I mean, an inn will have bathing facilities, like especially a nice one.
Is there no bathhouse here?
Well, I mean, you could look for one.
No bathhouse.
Let's leave.
Let's leave.
Right. So make me someone make me a sort of perception check.
Perception. $18.
Okay, so you found there's an inn sort of nearby in the start of the Sunlit Promenade. As you're sort of walking through the West Docks, you see merchants and market stalls selling sort of street food and various like bits of cloth and linen and jewels bartering as you walk past. A lot of Lorai merchants are operating here. As you begin to go into the Sunlit Promenade, it's beginning. You do begin to see a lot more elves around this area. Maybe about 10% of the people you see on the street are elves, and a lot of the people are interacting quite like freely with each other, like elves buying things from market stalls in this area. Every now and again, you do see a merchant like walk past an elf couple and just like spit on the floor like next to them. As you make your way down the street, you do see an inn. It's called the Silverleaf Inn, and it's attached to an elven bathhouse, which is convenient.
What was it called? Sorry, the
Silverleaf. Like that.
And sorry, whereabouts in is it? Oh right, I see. It's
Yeah, so it's here. You see, like in the sort of grounds just outside of it, there's a sort of little like green space, almost like a green little square that it overlooks. And all the trees that are planted in this area have these sort of silvery leaves, which sort of glint in the sunlight. As you go up to them, they're very like, and you sort of put your hand up to one. They're very thin, they're almost like silver, like literally like silver leaf. And you see, like, you know, people just sitting around in the park, just having picnics or just sunbathing or, you know, whatever, going on walks. And there's just a nice atmosphere coming from the inn itself.
Should we pop in?
Yeah. Drinking a bath.
Okay.
All right. So as it opens up, you notice that this is an inn that is majority of people who are drinking here are elves, and they're drinking wine out of sort of silver goblets. It's like a higher society elf inn in this area. But as you get closer to the sort of reception area, there is a bar reception area. And there's like an elf woman behind it, with quite fair hair, wearing quite comfortable clothes, sort of almost like more human style, like sort of like trousers and a belt, rather than like a flowing dress. But she's sort of pouring drinks. She looks over. Hello, welcome to the Silverleaf. How can I help?
We would like a bath, please.
A bath, of course. Would you like a room as well? You look like you've just arrived at the city.
Yeah, that would be lovely.
Yes, please. How much are the rooms?
So our standard rooms are a silver piece a night.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, okay, yes, please. Is everyone okay with that?
Yeah, it's alright. The baths. Are dogs allowed in?
Dogs?
Yeah.
And she looks over at Hank, who's just sort of like peering through the doorway. It's like sadly. And she goes, "Of course, we welcome animals here."
Oh. Cheers. Don't worry, it's well behaved.
Hank bounds in.
I'll be
Well,
here.
whatever,
Yeah, the barkeep clicks her finger, and all the mud that Hank has trodden in through the ground is beginning to be cleared up by like this magical broomstick that's just going around sweeping it after him. There's like a little magical cloth that's sort of scrubbing behind it as well. Well, my name is Erenwen. If you need anything,
What's that again? Erenwen.
like that. If you need anything,
It's this campaign's errand.
yes.
Oh my god.
Main NPC alert.
Be nice. Be nice.
If you need anything, please let me know. I hope you enjoy your stay here. We do discounts on longer stays as well. If you need.
We might need to stay for a while.
Yeah, not really sure. Not really sure how long we're going
might-
to be here, to be honest.
We might need to discuss that with Merchant Prince before.
Oh wow, you're seeing the Merchant Prince.
Very
That's the
important
idea.
business.
Oh well, yes. You best get nice, well, and rested then. It'll be interesting to hear what you have to say about him.
Do you know anything about the Merchant Prince? I must confess I am woefully unaware.
I've heard many things. I've heard that he's strict but fair, and he has done many things for the elf community in Calrius, despite what a lot of the people who elected him would say.
I assume he is not an elf himself.
No, he is a human.
I've been here before, and merchants don't seem to like elves. I take it if he has done such, do they not have a very good relationship?
Well, our people lived in this city and have lived in this city for thousands of years. And it was only 25 years ago that the humans took the city over.
Yes, but what I mean is, does the Merchant Prince not have a good relationship with the merchants here? If he's
Oh, I
a lot
see.
for our community.
Well, there are different factions of merchants that have different opinions. There is a harder line faction who believes that elves are imminently planning on taking the city back at any opportunity. And he has succumbed to their beliefs in a lot of ways. He spends a lot of money on the military and on a big navy, for example. But that being said, he is part of another faction who seeks to do business with the elves and treat them respectfully. He just happens to be part of a bigger faction for now.
So he's a centrist.
I am not sure what you mean by that, but perhaps.
I'm putting them down as centrists in my book. That's how I'll remember them.
Is there any other questions you have about the city? I'd be happy to help.
Do you have any idea what he might like? We'd love to make a good first impression.
I don't know that, to be honest. I don't know anyone who has ever met the Merchant Prince.
But I appreciate it regardless.
Well, is there anybody here who might be better acquainted that we could talk to?
If you go to the Shining Spire, there are magisters and guards who would answer your questions if you had any. But you will have to speak to them before you can speak to the Merchant Prince anyway. I would recommend not openly carrying weapons in the city. The guards have been known to issue fines, especially if weapons are used in things that basically don't attack anyone. That's just what I'm trying to say.
No, who do you think we are? We are not barbarians.
They take
No,
keeping of the peace very seriously here.
and I imagine some of the guards might be subject to the prejudices of some of these hardliners, claiming elves might want to invade. I imagine they'd be stricter on those of us who are elves carrying weapons.
The guards are some of the largest supporters of the hardliners. They tend to have issues with us from time to time.
Ugh.
Speaking of, is there anywhere we should avoid if we wanted to avoid a scene?
To avoid
Yes, places in the city to avoid.
anywhere outside the walls will be innately more dangerous.
Outside the walls.
So yes, any parts outside of all of the Sylvan Gates, there's a number. That is where most of the slums are,
Right.
and where most of the crime occurs.
Okay,
Otherwise,
well,
within the walls, it should be relatively safe.
thank you. We leave our things upstairs if that is okay.
Very well. So if everyone can pay a silver for the night.
I've already.
Sure.
Okay, cool.
I shall subtract this.
And then you see a sign saying that she'll do a week for 5 silver.
I mean,
Well,
like,
we'll
it's
almost
hard to
certainly
know.
be here more, surely.
It's hard to know at this point, is it not?
We should talk to the merchant prince before we decide to give more money than we need to.
Yeah, honestly, 5 silver's well, it's not an insignificant portion of my money. So
Oh, I see.
Haha, poor people. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm not particularly wealthy myself.
Speak for yourself.
I do
Guess
speak
because
for
he's just
myself. I
funneling his
just
big bag of
was.
money.
Dance for me, poor person, and I might.
Snaggins, not. Please take the wares upstairs, please.
Right, we're not actually your employees anymore.
Oh, I will help you.
All right, yeah. We're equals at this point. We're partners.
Yes, of course. We
All right. You equitably carry the luggage up the stairs with them.
I'm not enjoying it.
It's a lot more luggage now that Ugo isn't around to carry everything as well.
Yeah.
All right, so very well. You have your rooms available to you. There is a bathhouse which is attached to the inn. It's quite small, but it's mostly empty actually. There's not that many people in here.
Is that part of the room fee, or?
Yeah, you just get access to that as part of paying your room for your room. It's like if you wanted a little swim or something. It's like a little leisure area, basically a little terrace. It's got these sort of very soft grass, sort of with this big glass dome over the top of this, so the sunlight can get into the area. But it's quite warm in here. It's almost like a greenhouse, slash sauna type, situation. Anyway, the water itself is warm and comfortable, a comfortable temperature indeed. And as you begin swimming around in it, there's this sort of like fluorescent fungus which begins to light up. As the sun is starting to go down in the evening, you could imagine this room would get more and more covered in glitter and light from this fungus, which illuminates when you swim through it.
Hank, no, Hank, don't eat the fungus. Don't eat it. No. No, that's not food.
Oh God!
The dog is curious.
Oh, there's going to be some interesting poops later.
You notice his dribble is starting to glow.
I will say that is the biggest dog I've ever seen. I am curious. How did you come across Hank?
I mean, he was just on the street, little pup.
Was he particularly large for his breed even then, or did you do some weird magic mumbo jumbo to him?
Nah, it's just a little puppy. Don't really think much of it, to be honest. And he just, he grew as puppies do, and then, well, he just didn't really stop.
Yeah, it's not usual I've seen a dog that can support a heavily armed man on his back.
Yeah, I reckon maybe he's part direwolf or something.
It would be a little bit
Right.
embarrassing, right? If you picked the dog puppy up and it grew up to be a chinchilla.
A what? What?
It is a famous dog breed, no? You've not heard of it?
I don't know what a chinchihuahua is, but
If you've not heard of a chinchilla, it is
I mean,
a perfectly normal type of dog, no?
yeah, I don't know.
Do
Nothing wrong
you
with
know what
the
it is?
nothing
I
wrong
know
with a
what
little dog
chinchilla
though.
is. No, it is a small dog. It would be funny, no?
Yes.
What's funny? What's funny about a little dog?
You would
Yeah.
be going into combat and you'd have this little chinchilla at your side.
Oh well, if it's just a little I didn't get him with the intent of bringing him into combat.
I'm sorry.
I mean, if it's just
Just trying a joke.
if I had this tiny little thing, I'm not going to bring that into a fight, am I?
Oh, but you bring the big one.
Well, yeah, he can take it. He loves it. Don't you, Hank? Just give him a.
Oh.
Or you love the blood of your enemies, don't you? Oh.
I would say, Cascus,
Kill.
you seem more cheerful lately.
There's a weight lifted off my shoulder, no?
What's that?
Well, I have no business as of now. I am cut free from my family, and it is all good.
I thought you liked business.
I'm taking a well. I am here obviously to find trade relations with Port Edzerin, but right now I have no employees. I am a free man.
You could have done that before.
But I had a change of heart. No, you were there for that. Hugo,
Yeah.
he's passing it. As sad as it was, I'm beginning to see it as a liberating moment, no?
Huh.
Well, for what it's worth, I'm glad that you're able to see something else in life.
Thank you.
All right, so you spend the evening sort of getting yourself freshened up and changed and having your clothes washed and sort of like there's people who will just like clean your clothes around the city. Right, so you have the room for the night. Is there anything you want to do immediately, or do you all of you just planning on kicking it in for a night and then
Kick it.
starting in the
it.
morning?
Cascus wants to talk to Nix.
Askus does he?
Not Cascus, Cyan wants to talk to Nix.
You
I
will
nominate
talk to Nix.
Cascus.
Cascus, you're talking to Nix now. Deal with it.
All right, so yeah. What did you want to say to next, Cyan?
So, a lot of people are talking about stuff. Right?
Right.
Henning told us a lot. Do you think we should talk to them about stuff?
What stuff? Oh,
Stuff. I say, looking at the walls, hoping people can't hear.
do you think they would care?
Well, we might fuck things up. You know, we've got the big mission.
Sorry, Joanne, can you turn your microphone down a little bit?
Can you hear me breathing?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know
Yeah,
why.
breathing and
It's in
rustling.
a normal place.
It's adding some tense vibes to this, but you know.
All right, carry on. Sorry.
We got the big mission, and like our mission might contradict a little bit.
Yeah. But what do you think's more important?
I don't know. Something needs to be done about both of them. I
Isn't it?
think.
I think there's nothing wrong with keeping bits of yourself hidden for now. I do it all the time.
Well, yeah, there's that. Do you think that Nera could help?
Hmm. I think she would.
Well, she wants to get the fuck away from that.
She might feel the same.
She might.
Anyway. I think do what you feel like you want to do. I understand that, like, people are gonna think it's weird.
I know people are going to think that's weird. I wasn't going to reveal that anytime soon, especially not here. I'm gonna start a riot.
Hmm.
I mean, what we're coming to do.
Oh. Yeah. I think it might fuck it up.
Yeah.
I think you can tell them. If they're friends, and they said they were,
Hanera said she is.
well, if she is a friend,
I don't
she
know
will
if
help.
Cascus understands the idea of friends outside of a business transaction.
Kalsifa's friendly, and Henning is kind of.
Sorry, I meant Cascus.
Yeah, no, but
Yeah.
Kalsifa's friendly as well, though.
Yeah.
You don't know him very well. And Henning is sort of fucked up, but he's alright, I think.
Where?
True.
Now. Next, that's not a good word.
Nah.
Okay. I learned it from you.
I but I'm. Wait, no, you're probably older than I am, actually. That's weird. I always thought of you like little sister. But now you're probably older than I.
How old are you?
It's certainly not as old as you. Don't ask you don't ask someone their age. It's rude sometimes.
Really? How
Well,
do you
it
ever
depends.
know how old someone is then?
That's true. That's because I only really talked to my mum about it, and then my mum always told me not to ask her because
Oh.
that's rude.
It sounds like she was just insecure about her age.
She was very insecure about a lot of things. But yeah, like
I think we should tell people.
we should tell people about the mission.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll do it after we talk to Merchant Prince, I think.
Yeah.
They have a right to know.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. All right. So you get yourselves tidied up. Did you want to just spend the night, or was it
Yeah.
going to the next day? Yeah, you're going
Yeah.
to the next day. Okay.
Sure.
All right. So going then in that case to the day of the 60th day of spring. The morning, it's nice in this area. You hear the chirping of birds in the trees. The houses themselves seem to be almost like kind of natural in design. I do have some pictures of Kelria somewhere. I'll find them. Either way, these sort of tiny little narrow streets here, and you hear the sort of laughing of children. It seems like quite a safe area around here. And then every now and again you hear guards marching up and down the street nearby. So the next day, did you want to head? So you've heard that the Shining Spire is where the Merchant Prince lives.
Yeah.
So looking over to that area, it is the largest building in Kelrius. It's this absolutely huge elven tower. That looks almost like a wizard's tower, just put like poking quite high into the sky, maybe like 100 or 200 feet or something. And it's sort of like it's almost doubling up as a sort of lighthouse at the same time. It's got like a big like light sort of shining off the top of it. You're not quite sure what it's from, whether it's from some sort of magical stone, or if
Mm.
there's some sort of light source in there. And then just facing it is the old ward, and that is like an old. There's a whole bunch of ancient elf buildings, like big cathedral type buildings around there, and like statues and bits of greenery, like in a park. It's quite a holy area of the area. Like the old ward is where Eretzar's house, like, is still preserved. And like when he became the leader of Kelrius, which is before he became the sort of, unifier of the Sidan, he was like the leader of this place. So there's like a lot of tales that are like known about him in this city.
Mm.
You sort of just pick that up from like being around this area, especially because there's elves around that you can overhear from. But yeah, so the morning comes. Did you just want to head straight to the Shining Spire then?
I don't
We
think
should
had
make a
any
plan
others, right?
first.
What
Like, what are
kind
we
of
gonna
plan?
say?
I'm pretty sure like they were relaying messages anyway. I think we need to discuss. We need to tell them why we're here. I think we need to tell him about our suspicions about the Shade Steel being used to kill Hadron.
Mhm.
No harm in telling him about the banking guild either.
I already
No,
know.
that is. But what do we have that the banking guild do not? That is the key thing you'll want to know.
There might even be a representative of the banking guild here. They were quick to run.
was.
They were quick to flee.
What
They might already be here.
That is true.
Well, it is quite clear the banking guild tried to, manipulate the patron, no? They captured his mind in some strange spell.
How do we prove
the
it?
Merchant Prince, yeah.
No, sorry.
Yeah,
that's
Axos.
not the patron. That's different.
But
Yeah.
but how do we convince this merchant prince of that?
Well-
Same way we did last time by stabbing them a bunch.
I can be pretty convincing of these things, no? And besides, we could always, like, the patron, it is not patron, sorry, it is the truth, no? The merchant prince we could send a missive, a letter. It is objectively true.
Not if his mind is being influenced like Axos was.
Well, if that is the case, then we have no chance at all, no?
Yeah.
Does not matter what we say. But if it is not, then I think we can compel him in through using, the honest truth.
Okay. So, what's the plan?
Go in, talk to Merchant Prince, tell him the truth, I guess.
And then get out.
All right. So, then in that case, you march up to the gates of the Shining Spire. You sort of walk this way. So you've got these high, magnificent walls that have been preserved. I mean, these are probably like 1,000 years old. These walls. This building was made after Eretzar, but it's still old. So as you approach, you see the sort of flags of Kelrius, which are presented here, flying down either side of this large grand doorway that a few guards are standing by. Are you coming here with all your items and weapons and stuff?
No, I'm leaving my stuff in my room.
Yeah.
Cascus will have his exquisite sword cane.
Yeah, you've got the
sheathed
sword cane.
I kind of assumed that just having stuff like in our packs would be enough.
Yeah, well, it's quite obvious if you're carrying weapons with you.
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna fit like
Unless you're
a
like,
great
unless,
axe in a bag.
yeah.
Suppose we'll leave his flintlock.
Yeah, because when you said like open carrying, I thought that was more a case of like just not allowed to just like blatantly have stuff out.
Well, yeah. I mean, like, when you walked over here and no guard stopped you if you have weapons, like, but they probably will not let you take the weapons into the merchant prince, you know. So you probably have to leave them there. But it's alright. If you have your stuff on you, then you go up to the gates, and that's what the guard tells you. It says we can organize a visit with the merchant prince, but you will have to leave your weapons and belongings here.
All right.
Very well.
Well, hand it over.
Yeah, they go over, and he tries to, like, he looks over at your cane and then just sort of passes you over.
Nice.
And Cyan, do you have like a dagger or something?
I would have probably had my dagger on me in case we got mugged on the way or something.
Yeah, I imagine that you probably have hidden it quite well.
Yeah.
So they don't really like pat you down too much. So they just sort of pass over you. So you have a dagger on you. But as for the rest of you, they just sort of like ask you to put your stuff down.
Yeah, just like flail on the desk, dagger on the desk,
Yeah.
javelin on the desk, javelin on the desk, javelin on the desk, javelin on the desk,
and
grappling hook on the desk, crowbar on the desk.
The guard also says no dogs.
Oh,
Alien!
Bang, bang.
all right. I'll call him into the shield.
Okay. And he says, "You're going to bring the shield in with you." I suppose it's not really a weapon.
Yeah, not really.
They just put it on your back or something.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Now it's a cape.
It's just a really heavy cape.
Yeah.
It's glowing with a dog's face on it. All right. So after handing over your things, they march you into this grand, what was once a throne room made of marble. It's sort of this green hue to the marble that's like within the stone itself. You know, usually when marble might have like a bit of black or a bit of grey in it, it's got like bright, almost like glow in the dark kind of green or everywhere around, and it's smooth, polished, smooth, and shiny. And at the end is a sort of quite large platform where a throne once was that has been torn down and just replaced with this like chair made out of like driftwood.
Reasonable downgrade.
Yeah, well, it's more of a Lawari thing. They don't have like thrones and kings. You know, the merchant prince is an elected position, so he's basically got a chair like representative of the position.
Was there a photo that she did? There was like one of the art things that we did.
What's that?
What you did? I thought there was a photo. I remember seeing a photo of some driftwood throne thing.
Oh no, I'm not sure. Either way. Anyway, to continue. Sat down on it in a quite relaxed position is maybe like a sort of mid-50s-year-old man with short, kind of grey cropped hair. Sat comfortably listening to a bard sort of play a little tune. As you approach, he's wearing quite fancy clothing, but nothing really massively out of the ordinary. He kind of just looks like a wealthy merchant, rather than someone like, you know, trying to like up their station. The bard stops playing, and a few people around in the area kind of clap, including who you recognise to be Merchant Prince Tarrant Els, who sat in the chair. He says, fantastic. Right. Seems like I've got some business, so I'll see you later. You can play that for me again later, yes? And the bard says, very well, sir, and gets up and leaves. So you approach. Right, okay. Yeah, so he calls over to you and says, come, speak to me. What is your purpose here?
If I may, first of all, it is a pleasure to make your acquaintance. My name is Kazkis Povrif. Can I make an impression?
Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you. Diplomacy. Yes. That is a 22.
22. Okay. Is that against his will, DC?
Hold on 1 sec. I'm just reading the rule now. Yeah, will DC the target.
Okay. So yeah, that's a success, I think. So what does a success do?
So a success, just the target's attitude towards you improves by 1 step.
Okay. He says, "Oh, very well. Podvoriv. Yes, I've heard the name."
I'm sure you're acquainted with my brother, Arax Povriv.
Ah, that's it. Your brother. Fantastic. I didn't know he had any siblings.
Well, I'm new to town, no? And may I introduce my traveling companions with me? This is Henera.
Hello.
This is Henning.
Pleased to meet you.
This is Cyan.
Greetings, and I give it like a little 2-finger salute thing. I don't really know the proper
Okay.
thing to.
Yeah.
Proper.
He is still figuring it out. And this is Calcifer. Hello.
You alright?
Oh, yes, sir.
Hello, I'm Calcifer.
That was weird. The way I don't know why you said hello for me there, though. That was a bit weird. Is that what they do here? Don't you shush me.
And we are here on behalf of Merchant Prince Kutodad.
Right, yes. That nasty business I heard about with the banking guilds, is that right?
Yes, that is very, very correct. We are here to bring our two groupings of people together.
I see. Yes, well, I thought you'd ask me that.
Well, it is not an ask. It is something born out of mutual admiration and the long-running ties between these two great nations for years and years, no?
Yes, of course. Well, as you probably know, I am part of the Adno Merchant Company. I am one third of it.
Of course.
My other merchant prince acquaintances, Axos and Elise, are the other 2/3. So, as you can tell, I'm quite confused about why our business arrangement has broken down.
Well, you see, Elise has she has violated the sacred bond between the three of you. Axos would argue very strongly that her recent transgressions have violated his own autonomy and control over Port Edrin, which was given to him by, your constitution. No, I don't know what they have. I don't know what legal frameworks they have.
Yeah, sure.
We are here simply as envoys and ambassadors to renew our ties and try to impress upon you the strength of Axos' conviction here. He has not been wronged. He is a victim.
He sort of like scratches his head a bit and says, "And I'm sure if I ask Elise what happened, she'd tell me that she is a victim as well."
And Elise, allow me to rephrase. Smiles kind of wryly, his teeth are kind of quite sharp and pointy. Elise has done much more than Axos has. You see, we went to see the Merchant Prince Axos a week ago or so now, and when we come to him, Elise had taken over his mind with a spell.
Is that true?
My
Did
friends,
you witnessed that?
I did. We all did.
It's
Can I
true.
do it? Is there like a check we need to do here?
Make a diplomacy check.
Can I help because I'm because I'm
Yeah.
agreeing?
Oh, no.
Ooh,
I guess it's
damn.
got that 20 though.
Do I need to help?
That's fine. I think that's fine. Yeah. You can say you helped.
We can all go home now. Job done, guys.
Well, he says.
I'm joking.
He sits down and scratches his beard and says, "I'm not sure how I can help. I do believe you. Elise has always been She's been one to not shy away from that sort of power. Magical items and the like.
Well, you might have guessed this by now, but I think war's on our doorstep. Banking Guild ain't rolling over. Axos needs to know that he's got your support.
The issue is, I was elected as Merchant Prince to keep Kelrius safe from the elves. I do not know how involving my city in a civil dispute will help that mandate. There are many here who would not wish to engage in warfare amongst our own kind.
With all due respect, your mandate is to the merchant company writ large, not just your 1/3, no?
don't think that's
My
his
mandate
point.
is the people who elected me.
And a weak Port Edrin, and I mean, frankly, even if they win, a weak Banking Guild means you'd be kind of on your own for quite some time. Might even leave you vulnerable.
This is exactly the sort of conflict, though, that could cause us to lose everything we've worked for over the last 4 decades.
If you aid us, it could result in the end of the war between the Sidon and the Rodrans. This would provide negotiable support towards creating a peaceful resolution to your situation with the elves and help prevent further bloodshed.
We even have reason to believe we might be able to get the Sidon on side. No promises yet, but it's looking that way.
I don't... I understand that. But, again, my fleet is only large enough to protect Kelrius from an attack.
Well, for now, we are not asking you necessarily to go out and do anything. It is just to rebook the empty promises and words that Elise and whoever she sends will bring you with. Until we can provide more assurances that the Sidon are with us, with Axos and, of course, yourself, then we do not expect you to go out and waste your ships on something.
I see. Very well. Well, I've had information recently that the elves of House Ignis are building a fleet that could potentially threaten Kelrius.
House Ignis,
House Ignis, yes.
have you reason to believe that they explicitly intend to harm Kelrius?
Well, normally I wouldn't be as worried about it, because the Adno Merchant Company fleet is both superior in numbers and in technological capacity to the normal elf ships. But now that we are engaging in some form of civil conflict, our naval numbers will deplete. And I barely have enough ships of my under my control to even protect this city. Never mind protect the wider merchant company.
If we were to aid you in that regard, would you be more willing to aid us?
If you could guarantee that House Ignis will not be attempting to invade Kelrius in the near future, then yes, then I would be able to assist in the conflict. I'd be able to free up resources I have been keeping to one side.
Very well.
But that is not to be shared amongst the merchants.
Of course, we wouldn't dream of harming anyone's reputation or revealing any discreet information.
I don't suppose any of you remember the war in Port Daron, do you?
It was before my time.
I was there. My father fought in it. I tended his wounds as a child. I was there to watch him grow weaker and die. succumbing to the infection that he was caused by a spear. And it left my mother to look after 6 children on her own. It ruined us. And I don't want to see this happen again to us.
From Port Alderon, that land still suffers the scars of that battle. So I understand your hesitation.
I mean, what was it for? We had everything there. We had a prosperous state, and we had freedom. And we backed a tyrant who promised us the world. So I'm just concerned that another civil conflict might lead us to the same doom.
What was the tyrant's name?
His name was Pietro.
Pietra.
What
That's a
silly
bad name.
What a silly name.
It's a name that fills me with revulsion and innate hatred.
I don't know why I'm just so angry when I hear that name.
I appreciate and understand your concern, but can you not see what happens if you do nothing?
I understand that, but it is a question of what I can do. If sending aid causes me to lose this city, then it's not worth it.
So it's something you could only really do if we ensured the elves could not harm you in return, as you expose your flank.
This is one of the most valuable cities in Adana to the elves, and it is a great cause of pain for them that it is not owned by them. So, I've spent many years trying to get House Rexis on our side, but they are a house which is considerably weaker than House Ignis and House Kaidas, both which have aspirations to reclaim this place. As much as they will not admit it. It would solidify them as some of the greatest houses of all time, if they'd managed it. So, I don't want to let them seize the opportunity, and if I have to make a preemptive attack on them, I will.
Given that, we kind of would like to try and get as many of them on side as we can. We would really rather you didn't.
I know, I don't want to be forced into it.
If House Ignis were instead replaced by a much friendlier party, that might change things.
I just need a guarantee. That's all I need. I've heard that you're planning on going to see the High Lords, so if you can organize something.
Yeah, who told you this information?
Axos sent me a dossier of your upcoming visit.
Huh.
Him and I have always been close, but I did not expect that we would be potentially fighting in another war together before he died.
Is there like lots of people around?
It's quite empty here. Just a couple of people, just part of his retinue. Quite hard to tell who they are.
I did have another. We did have something else we wanted to discuss, and it would be good if there was some discretion.
Very well. Come with me to my office. We will speak more privately there, then.
Thank you.
So he gets off the throne and just nods to one of his guards and says, "I will be back later." And one of the guards goes and sits down in the throne just to take the spot.
Like, look at me, I'm the merchant prince.
You do this, you do that.
As you're walking towards the merchant prince's grand office, he just says, "Oh, I know. I like to actually just make him keep that warm for me. It gets really cold in the throne room."
Is that his only position?
He's literally a seat warmer.
He's just got a fat ass.
He's got a bad ass. Yeah. So yeah, the grand office that he occupies is quite nice. It's got like a large oak desk in the centre, varnished quite darkly, with a sort of silk puffy chair that's like got sort of been dyed red. It's got these gold inlays and gold like patterns around it. It's comfortable. You've got enough chairs around for you to sit down on. And he says, "Well then, tell me."
Cascas reaches into his bag and pulls out like a drawing of the is it 5-pointed star? Is it? Sorry, 5 or 6.
6.
6-pointed star. And
Yeah.
like slides it across the table to him, and like is really keenly looking at his face as he reacts to it, and asks like what he makes of it.
Well, is this supposed to mean something to me?
Can I do a sense motive, I guess?
Yeah, that would be. Is that perception?
Let me just triple check. I think so. Yeah, perception. And it gets deception DC.
Yeah, that's fine.
Perception then. Cascas has no token.
GM does a single secret perception check for you.
Oh right.
I'll do.
I'll do it as well.
Do you want me to blind GM?
Oh yeah, do a blind gem.
Yeah.
I've got lie detector as well, so I'm going to bring that on. Actually, ignore that anyway. I didn't put it on because it's not a lie.
Cool. All right. You don't notice anything's out of the ordinary.
Okay.
Like he doesn't seem to be lying.
Okay, fine. You see, over the last few weeks in Port Edron, we have uncovered a few rather strange goings on. Kind of looks at the rest of the party, just to double check. This is okay.
Cyan is doing the thumbs up.
Go get him.
Go get him, Ty.
A small go. We believe there is a plot the banking guild is involved in some capacity. We do not have definitive proof it goes all the way to the top, but we know a number of magisters and those involved in the council are involved. And I appreciate you do not have to. We are not credible interlocutors to you, but I hope you understand that we are not lying when we say this. There are, how do I say, holes under cities. I'm sorry, my comment is not always so good. To which it is a hole to another land you may have come across in fairy tales, a gloom.
Right.
And I know you're glazing over in this, but I promise you there is one under Port Edron. I've seen it with my own eyes. It is horrifying. And I was nearly killed there. But in any event, there is one under your city. Like there is Port Edron, and like there is a few others around. I do not believe that I believe there is more to the banking guild's plan than just simple control. I think there is something about this city and a few others that they need.
Right. Well, this is the first I'm hearing of this. I have not heard of any rifts or openings under the city or anything.
Supposedly there's one here.
Now I know there are a number of, I was speaking to my companions here, that there are a number of tunnels under your city, so people get lost and go missing and never come back, and I'm not trying to tie that to the same thing. It could be all matter of reasons, but it sounds like your city has a lot of hidden tunnels.
Would you know of any underground Achidian rings or cults, possibly calling themselves dreamers, at large in the city?
I've not heard anything like that.
What is your city's policy on Achidian?
It is not consume, not allow. We do not allow it to be consumed within the city walls by elves. We've had a lot of ritual madness go on in these cities.
You may
Pilgrims.
desire to include humans in that list. We found a human cult of Acadian users in Port Hedron who were worshipping these rifts, talking about the end times of the elves.
I see.
Send your own operatives. I appreciate you do not have anything to triangulate our claims against. You speak to them in Port Edwin and ask these questions, you will find the same thing.
I believe you. I believe you. I'm just shocked at the information. I'm hesitant to believe that the banking guild are responsible for this, though.
Responsible, sure, maybe not, but they are certainly involved and protecting it. When we were at the hall under Port Edron, the banking guild came in very quickly once things started getting a bit loud, and they pushed anyone out and everything out.
If you speak to Don, he has the information, and he has their books, he has folders, he has reference to locations where they were conducting experiments. He is better suited to discuss this with you than we are.
There's a knock on the door. Knock, knock, knock.
No.
Taran, Merchant Prince Taran, looks up and says, "Come in." The door opens, and peeking through is an elf that you all recognise. It is Cadell. And so, like, purple hair, sort of like wearing eyeshadow, wearing this sort of kind of green half dress, half cloak. Looks through the doorway and says, "Just to let you know, Merchant Prince, I have the answer that you have been looking for from the Padrin." And he looks up and says, "Oh, very well. Send it to my office. Thank you, Cadell." And Cadell looks over at all of you and says, "Oh, hello again."
Hello.
Well, hello.
The merchant
hello?
prince says, "The merchant prince says, you've met?" And Cadell says, "Yes, we had some trouble on the road in Rodrana. Welcome to Kelrius, all of you. I guess I'll see you around." He closes the door behind him, and the merchant prince says, "Yes, he's a strange fellow, but he's good."
Certainly not like other elves I've met.
Well, he's very good at his job."
Do you trust him?
I don't need to trust him. He's not my delegate.
I mean, he was just able to knock on your door in your private chamber. Presumably, he could have been listening in.
Oh well, we have a good relationship with the Emerald City. Let's say
Have
he
you
is a welcomed guest in these parts.
Very good.
And I do not figure that he is one to listen to people's conversations. He is usually renowned as a bit of a jokester, rather than someone who cares that much about information.
What kind of jokes?
Practical jokes, mostly.
In a diplomatic setting?
He has not had many diplomatic arrangements. He's a good friend of the Padrins, so he is sent on important missions for him.
And what is he doing here with you, if I may be so bold?
He was tracking down an elf to make a deal in some back channels. Nothing that you need to be worried about. Guarantees of a kind that I had not expected from the Padrin. Anyway.
well.
Right. Well, I will have a look. I'll put it to my operatives to seek out any of these rifts if there are any in the city.
Very good. Does anyone else have anything else they wanted to raise?
Well, it can wait. I do have something I need to ask of you, but not sure now's the right time to ask.
Well, you're welcome to stay in the city as long as you like. I don't really have that much to do in my day-to-day. Things have started to get a little busier now that we might be going to war.
You don't have any work for us or anything while we're here in the city, or
You are esteemed guests. Make yourselves at home. I'm sure that you'll find something to keep you occupied.
very well.
Meet with me before you leave again. If you do decide to leave the city, we'll have a meeting, just to make sure that we all are on the same page. I know that some of your goals are to go see the High Lords, but I suppose that's the only mission I do have for you, is to find me a guarantee of peace in the city, and then I will help. He stands and says, you know the way back, I presume?
Yes, of course. And thank you so much for your time. It is most appreciated.
Very well. It is nice to meet you all, and put some faces to the name. He opens the door and sees you out. So you're just sort of walking back through the halls at the moment. Just going back to the place so you can pick up the rest of your stuff.
Yeah.
When we're back at the inn, I need to discuss something with each of you.
Together or
Separately or
separately?
together?
Individually? Or...
No,
Okay.
it's a group decision.
Decision. Interesting.
Right.
As you are walking through the hallways, you notice there's like a little, quite young kid, maybe 9 or 10, mopping the floors nearby, like a sort of servant.
Right, okay. Does he look particularly poor or anything?
Yeah. I mean, he's a servant, but he sort of steps out and literally just steps right in front of you as you are walking down the hallway, and just like gets you to stop, and he just like is looking up at you.
Can we help you?
Hi, mister. I hear you wanted a message. And he reaches into his pocket and brings out a like a little note that's like scrambled note.
Oh. Thank you. Henning just takes the note.
It's a message from a friend, and then he goes back and starts mopping up again.
Henning reads the note.
It says, "Meet me tonight at the Broken Barrel Tavern. Ask for a drink called the Dragon's Breath. The bartender will know what to do. It's urgent." It's unsigned. There's no name on there, but not eat me tonight.
Hey.
Eat me. Excuse me, boy. Boy.
That's what they call it. The Dragon's Breath.
Oh no!
But yeah, message is unsigned. The handwriting is quite elegant, though. It's very well written.
Other than the eat me.
It's just not clear.
Okay. This is a bit concerning.
Is that just you by yourself?
I have no idea. It doesn't say to meet alone, but I assume it means to meet alone.
Did the child specifically flag down Henning, or is it just the
No,
group as a whole?
it flags the whole group down. Just handed it to Henning.
I think it's for all of us.
Right.
All right, should we take a break?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Cool.
All right, let's take a 15-minute break or something.
Sure. Grab a drink. I just got upstairs to go for a wee. I'm just going to come back down so I can mute the stream. Alright. Oh, no, that's the wrong thing. Right. See you in a bit, EastEnders.
Hello, welcome back. So just before the break, the party had arrived in the city of Kelrius, and you had met the merchant prince, Taran Els. Do you know? Have you got his name? I think you have in your notes.
My version of it.
I got it from when you posted in WhatsApp.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's yeah. I did put it in there as well. So you have now since met him. Also, during the meeting, Cadell, that the elf that you met in the gloom, popped his head in through the door and saw you briefly before leaving. And you were handed a note by a quote friend to meet at the Broken Barrel Tavern. Obviously, you don't know where that is. But if someone wants to ask around,
I'll ask around.
Ask random people.
Yeah, okay. Well, but pretty much like you speak to a guard or something, and the guard says, "Oh yes, that is a inn in the East Harbour. It is mostly for fishermen and sailors and the like."
Fair enough.
I guess.
Do we know
So,
what time it is?
Yeah, sorry. It's probably about 4 p.m.
We've got some time then.
So we're going then. We agree on that.
We'll be going, yeah.
I have nothing to lose, I suppose.
Well, other than our lives, we don't know who this note is from.
Well, it says he's a friend.
What? Ah, yes, because someone that wanted to kill us would write that in the letter.
I don't
Hello,
know.
please come to this address so that we can kill you. Thank you.
I don't know. I'm new to having friends. Besides, it's in a pub type place. I doubt they'd want to kill someone. They'd want to kill someone in a public location. They'd want to get you in an alleyway or something.
Could be
Look,
that.
I'm sure you're right. I think we should just exercise some caution for this.
I mean, I think there's a good chance, it's that elf you knew seemed to be
I don't think
keeping
he's
stum about how you guys met.
We went to a strange dimension and we met the weird elf.
Yeah, but when he talked about, he just said trouble on the road.
Yeah, that was a clear lie. Maybe not to the merchant prince, but yeah.
Do you think his hair's naturally that colour?
I don't know. I don't think it's his natural face is the thing.
Maybe not.
So, like, maybe he changes his hair on a whim. If I could change my hair that easily, I would.
Does it matter what he looks like? The real him. But who cares?
Well, first of all, we don't know if he killed the real Cadell, and is taking his face.
Plus-
What about me? You want
Yeah, I
to say
mean-
somebody killed the
Yeah,
real
plus,
guy?
only the sketchiest people hide their appearance, right? Like cover. I mean,
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe he just does not feel particularly comfortable with himself sometimes.
Yeah, maybe. Anyway, when we're all free for that talk.
Should we get that out of the way first?
all right.
Right.
Gonna go back to the inn then.
I assume that's where we were already. Or
You are just heading back to it. Yeah.
Could,
Right,
or,
back to back.
or could head straight to Broken Barrel. Just get there early. Have a few. Probably got better ales than where we are.
What I have to discuss probably shouldn't be uttered in public.
Right.
Okay. Perhaps we should go back to our rooms first.
Let's do that. Come.
Alright,
And
so
we can
you've got a few
discuss a
hours
plan
to-
for this meeting.
Yeah, we do not need a plan. Be fine.
Okay, fine.
All right, so yeah, returning back to the inn, spend the sort of night preparing. What did you want to talk about?
So I'm going to invite everyone into my room. I imagine it's kind of cramped if everyone's coming in.
Yeah, you've only got like a little single room. But yeah,
Yeah.
you'll pile on. So some people sat on the bed, some people sat on the floor.
Pylon.
So this isn't going to come easy. I wager. Before I start, this is going to sound really, really weird, but I consider you all the first friends I ever truly had. And this is why I need to discuss this with you and no one else. It is my aim to seek the end of Duranda Ignis and House Ignis as a whole.
Okay.
Duranda Ignis is a monster. Mine and Nyx's home. It's not something you could find on a map. We liked to be hidden from everyone. It was easier that way. The way we don't do things the way everyone else does. It's much more in tune with nature and the land. We see things people can't. We know secrets that even the elves who have spent their whole lives here would never understand. And this meant that a lot of elves hate people like me. When Duranda Ignis went on a hunt for a gully beast, he was wounded and sought sanctuary in my home. We entertained him and his retinue as best we could, but he was cruel. He made demands of us we could not fulfill. He taunted us, desecrated our homes, our shrines. And then the day finally came where everything was burnt. I watched everyone butchered, thrown into carts. I wanted to fight. I wanted to kill, and I couldn't. I watched him cut down my mother and father in front of me, and I ran. I was a coward, and every day I've spent since has been to do them proud. But I can't forget that anymore. He needs to die. I needed to tell you all because our mission, I can't put that above it. I need him dead, and I needed to tell you now before things got out of hand.
Right.
Well,
That's going to make things a bit awkward, isn't it? If we're trying to get him on side and you're trying to, give him the old...
don't necessarily need house sickness inside if they're replaced, as Sion hinted at earlier.
This was my thinking as well.
This could be a good play.
I was thinking that in the throne room.
Yes, I caught your hint.
House Ignis. The factions in Adenira. They are constantly vying for control over another.
It would seem then we have something in common. We both want revenge on people that have wronged us. If you're prepared to help me, Sion, I'll more than happily help you.
Of course. My plan is to initiate some kind of, or take advantage of some form of conflict. Get that faction on board, offer our services, take down Duranda, and not only would we have Adenira on board, we would have Pelrius on board.
It's not an awful plan.
I mean, it's not really much of a plan at all, is it? Just take him down.
We don't have any information until we get there. But I've spent time around there. I know the political landscape. On top of that, House Ignis has had issues with families related to Hanera's mother's family. And I was thinking perhaps Hanera's mother could provide us some form of information or something we could look for.
Yeah, maybe.
Sion, I'm first of all very sorry for what happened. It sounds pretty terrible, and I speak to this as somebody who we all lost someone recently. Other than you guys have, but maybe you did. I empathize with your problem. I really do. But I just worry that our names will be implicated immediately. No, we will be seen as agents of what happened, and it could look bad on our mission. No.
This is why I'm telling you now. I understand this is something that might cause the rest of you harm. As I said, you're the first friends I've ever truly had. And I don't want to hurt any of you or get in your way. If you'd rather say no, if you'd rather turn me in, I won't help you, but I wouldn't hold it against you.
Frankly, I don't really care what happens to these houses, their lords. But if we're doing something about it, then we can't just go in with, usurp some massive family with the resources beyond our comprehension. They've got armies at their disposal. They've got people way stronger than us. And to expect to be able to just go in there and overthrow them?
It wouldn't be out in the open like that. We do things smart. I have been working with the Gem Crafters Guild to provide us safe entry and perhaps diplomatic relations with Duranda. Once we have that, we could lay them against each other, or even create a better relationship with Duranda before I cut his throat.
My issue with this is that if it turns out that I'm involved, it could pose very badly for my mother in my house. If anyone finds out.
You don't need to be involved.
Okay.
Okay.
But I will not stop.
Well, I'm not going to get in your way. Quite frankly, I think I empathize with your position. Figures of authority who I would rather see an arrow in their head.
Yes.
Look, it's not that I don't empathize. But this is big. And you got to consider if it's worth letting go.
If I let go, who knows what other villages he finds. I'm not... Our village wasn't the only one like us.
Is it me, or did it set a massive crashing happen outside?
My cat, hold on, what's that?
If
Suddenly, mountain.
if we let him go, he'll find more like me, and he'll do the same again and again and again.
Cyan is right. You know, they have more than a right to want to do this, and in a way, I do want to support them. I think we should. But we do need to play this cleverly. You know that, right? Can't just go in there willy-nilly, stabby.
I can make you invisible. That's about all I can offer.
If one invisible elf with a knife was enough to take their house down, I think it probably would have happened by now.
Which is why I want to discuss this with Hanira's mother. Your family was wounded greatly by House Ignis, and I wouldn't be surprised if she didn't have her own plans.
Clearly thought about this a great deal. I imagine you've had a lot of time to think about it.
Ever since I left, every day.
Well, you have my support.
It means a lot. Thank you.
Nick says, so does that mean where does everyone want to go first? To the Emerald City and up to Hanira's?
I think that would be wiser. I think if you want to do something like this, Cyan, then we need a bit more support under our backs, under ourselves, just in case something goes terribly wrong.
I agree.
But it does mean that there is a heightened risk that House Ignis might do something against Callias.
And I imagine that the longer it takes to guarantee Calrius' safety, the more risk it will be over time.
That's why we need to do this fast.
Split the party.
However, I do have business in this city before we leave. So if I am to come with you, Cyan, then we'll need to wait for that, I'm afraid.
That's fine.
In fact, you can help me. But we can discuss that.
That's the point, actually. Obviously, depending on what happens with this meeting, we might be here for a little bit, but if there's nothing to stay for, when do we go? When do we just head off in the morning, or what?
Well, we are going to see the Merchant Prince first.
Before we leave, yeah, but
After that, yeah, I mean, when we're ready to go, we just go, no?
But where? Which direction?
Oh, I see. We head north to House Rex's first. I think that is the obvious choice.
Yeah. I do think we should also keep an eye out for anything related to these rifts. They are as important to the Banking Guild, and anything important to the Banking Guild is worth taking down so that we have more of a chance of dealing the final blow later.
I do what, though? Discover them and then what? Look at them, they look nice, but I do not see how we do anything with it.
Maybe
Yeah.
the more we find, the more ways we find ways to close them. The Banking Guild have been trying to do experiments. I imagine they'll know more about them than we do.
I mean, we can have a look for it, I suppose. Yeah.
And what about this meeting tonight? Nick says.
What of it?
Ah, yes.
Who do you think is doing that? Who is it?
First thought is Cadell.
It's good handwriting. I don't recognize it.
Unless Seraphiel's trying to let us know he's alive.
I suppose we'll find out when we go. Speaking of, is it starting to get late now?
It's probably time to head over there.
I think we should head over.
Okay.
Let me just take the permissions so you can see Kelris now on the thing. Alright, so you begin to head over then to the Broken Barrel. It's a little bit of a walk, but after about 45 minutes of walking in the evening air, you eventually come across a rather conservative-looking inn. It's just quite quiet. There's a couple of sailors drinking like grog, some sort of ale, out of wooden mugs in the distance. Quite burly bar keep is behind the counter. Looks over to you. Well, what do you want?
What do you think we're in a bar?
What do you want to drink?
What my friend is suggesting is we'd like a dragon's breath, please. For 6 of us? 6 of us? I can't even remember.
He sort of raises an eyebrow and
like just whatever ale you got for me as well.
Wine would be
But
preferable for me.
the dragon's breath is the most important thing. So don't forget that.
he walks over and lifts up the counter in the back.
Walk
So you walk through. You sort of just hear the music quite calmly in the distance. When you arrive, you sort of hang on. Let me just get things up. So you go through an archway into the sort of back of the inn, which is sort of more like the private living quarters of the barkeep. But you see someone sat at a table wearing a cloak, wearing sort of neutral colours. The cloak is maybe brown or sort of like a dark grey. But you see a woman sat at the table and lower her hood. She's got long black hair. It's sort of tied in a tight braid at the back of her head, and she's got these piercing blue eyes. She seems reserved, but she stands as you approach. She says, "Oh, thank you. You all got my message."
Yes. Suppose introductions are possibly the first thing here.
Right. Yes, of course. I am Althea Cresswell. I'm I guess you could describe as an inventor. I work for the Merchant Prince.
Can I have that name in writing, please?
Yeah.
Which merchant prince?
For Merchant Prince Taran, in this city.
Ah, I got it right.
Got it right.
Hey,
Damn it, I got Arthea.
Got it wrong.
what?
Oh, and I got
How
Crestwell
can
as well.
How can we help you?
Yes, I am sorry for bringing you out of your way all this time. I am worried, let's say, about a certain project. I can't really talk about it here. I need to give you directions, and we'll meet there.
Why didn't we? Okay, forget the semantics. But okay, where do you need us to now go?
There is an abandoned Sidon mine at the base of the mountain. Meet me there. I will lead you. There is a project that I need your opinion on.
But excuse me, I do not mean to be rude. It is lovely for me to make your acquaintance, but this is ridiculous. You are asking 6 strangers to go to an abandoned mine. We do not know you. How do we know something will happen when we get there?
Listen, I understand, but I could not let someone else have the message for you to go there without me giving it in person. You see, it's very important.
Why? Can you not explain why? More detail?
It pertains to a certain weapon that the Merchant Prince has begun to create that I think you will want to see.
A weapon, you say?
I like weapons.
It's
A big weapon.
designed for a last resort, in case the elves were to invade the city.
Like a doomsday device.
Not necessarily. I can't say any more than that now. But meet me there. You can either come tonight, or you can meet me tomorrow. It's your choice.
Well, we don't really have anything else to do.
Yeah, might get some of that dragon's breath to go though.
I don't think they're actually going to give us the drink. I think that's just code.
I mean, it is a bar.
Look, I appreciate this. Can I please, and he kind of like, not threatening at all, but if we need more information to be able to trust you here, can you please give it to us? Can I?
Some kind of reassurance.
Can I use pointed question?
Yeah, go ahead.
A diplomacy against the will DC. So the question is, like, what is this weapon and why should we trust you? I know it's kind of like 2, but it feels pretty reasonable. So it's just a diplomacy check. And I put in the chat about, I didn't want to just say it because it gets annoying, but I put it as a pursuer lead. I'm going to make this an investigation rather.
Yeah, that's fine.
I've made it a private roll.
She stands up and begins to pack her things, and before she leaves, she turns around and says, "All the information that you need to know is the name of the drink. I need to go."
Oh,
She turns around and goes,
Is it a dragon in the mountain?
I mean, a dragon isn't a weapon, it's a creature.
But it could be used as a weapon.
Some fiery weapon or something.
What?
Hmm?
What about that mountain? A mountain. Dragon's breath.
The mountain's a dragon?
He's saying it is a volcano.
Oh.
Yeah, this was literally like a week ago. This was like, what, a few days ago? A week?
Okay, so we, yeah.
We should
I'm
probably
sorry,
go
but this
there
is
now.
ridiculous.
Well, we have nothing. We have no other leads to go by, so.
What do you mean leads to go by? We're not. We're not. I mean, I am piqued and curious, but we have no reason to do anything here. Why does the Merchant Prince need us to help? And why didn't he say it before?
Maybe
Because
it's not.
secrets.
I'm not sure the Merchant Prince wants us to.
Yes, I don't think the Merchant Prince is in on this particular conversation.
Does that seem plausible, Mike?
It seems plausible.
It does seem plausible.
Yeah.
Considering how secretive they were being, and the fact that he didn't ask us personally.
So what, we're going to get on his wrong side now?
Maybe.
Look,
We have we have a habit of doing that.
If he has a pet project along the way, then who are we to stop him?
This person is obviously very concerned. Well,
And by
Or-
us.
Or maybe we go see it, we figure it's fine, turn him in, curry some favour.
Yes.
I like your thinking.
Well, I do not warm to this, but fine. But if we will end up getting killed, it is not on me.
Are you going to haunt us?
I already will.
Understandable. Shall we go?
Yeah, let's go.
All right. So you follow. So you're going to go to the mountain, are you?
Yeah.
All right. So the sun has gone down now, and you're walking through the streets, kind of in the dark. Anywhere within the walls of the city, there are like lanterns and lamps around the city, just casting a glow on the street. As you go up to the gates down here and follow the instructions, and sort of go past the Sylvan Gates, it's this absolutely huge gate that is fashioned out of like what seems to be one massive block of stone, like literally a tunnel carved into it with all these like elven patterns and sort of interesting geometry. But you follow down the streets. You're now in the sort of slummy kind of area. It's a lot poorer here. A lot of the buildings are a bit run down, and a lot of people are sleeping rough. But no one seems to mess with you. It's mostly elves around here. And you follow the road down, and eventually it leads off to the base of the mountain. And following the instructions that she gave you, there's a sort of abandoned entrance to a mine from probably even before the humans took over the parts of the city. So it's very rough looking.
Is
But
there any like signs of life really, or like?
As you sort of sort of like peer in through the entrance, you see the hooded figure again, Althea. Looks over and she says, "Oh, you came. Thank you. Please, after me."
Oh, look behind you, guys.
Alright.
It's the last time you're ever going to see light again. Hmm?
I am going to put my hand on the hilt of my saber as we're walking through.
No,
Oh, yeah, Henning. With that, Henning's good. Well, just in case, though. Here you go, Cyan. And he hands you a giant scorpion venom.
Why, thank you.
Just in case.
Cascus, if you are scared, then hide behind Hank. All right.
Fine.
As you're walking through the abandoned cave, as she says, "I am sorry for the secrecy, but I did need to make sure that you were trustworthy before I revealed myself. I saw you in the throne room, and I heard your story. I have information that could be crucial to your cause, but it's
Which
dangerous.
cause is this? Specifically.
The cause of peace and cause of getting the High Lords on the side." As she continues walking through the tunnels, she says, "Taryn has been working on a secret project that could have dire consequences. I was the lead scientist who designed and built it, but I made a mistake." And she looks around a bit suspiciously. It opens up to sort of reveal an abandoned elven mine, and accessed only by this sort of very narrow tunnel that leads to that chamber. From there, it opens up, so you see this cavern, sort of natural formed cavern, with stalagmites and stalactites sort of like dangling there. Built as a sort of main laboratory. So the air is really cool and damp, and you hear the sounds of water dripping. You see like alchemical sort of like glowing torches lit sporadically around the room, and all the walls have these flickering shadows cast amongst them. And you see there's tools and mechanical parts are scattered all throughout the room, along with several workstations where Althea and her assistants may work. But in the centre of the room, the space that's been cleared out, there's this sort of imposing figure made of polished brass and copper. You see its wings are folded at its sides, and its eyes gleam with this bright red, like artificial light. There's like tubes and wires connect the machine to various cables around the room, and you hear the sound of gears and cogs occasionally turning and ticking, heard emanating from its body. So what you see before you is sort of curled up a dragon, made entirely of clockwork parts. And where its head is sort of rested in a curled up position. You see this glass dome suspended within it is like this liquid, and this dark shape sort of suspended within the dome itself. But as you get closer and see in the light, there is this huge dragon's brain that is like suspended in this liquid, which is connected with wires to the clockwork body. There's a few scientists around who are sort of like a bit nervous. And Althea says, "This is what I needed to show you."
The spirits, this was as obvious as I thought it was going to be.
The dragon.
Does it look like it's sort of alchemically powered?
Yeah, it's entirely made of gears and sort of clockwork technology, but there is like oil and sort of hydraulic systems within it. It does seem to have like a green glow coming from the center. It could be a tilestone.
Henning, does that look familiar to you? Or...
Should Henning make a check to see if that's familiar?
Yeah,
Or
go ahead.
What check should I make?
Just make me a perception
Right.
check for now.
But yeah, specifically something in your book, perhaps? Or...
He doesn't have the book. I'm trying to find the right menu. Bear with. Oh my god. Where is it? Oh, it's there, isn't it? Oh my god. I'm still not used to it. I don't know how
Yeah,
I'm
that's
still
right.
used to it. Okay. Just a normal perception.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yeah, it seems to be maybe powered by some sort of tilestone energy transmutation device of some sort. It's quite hard to really tell what's been going on in there, but it's very advanced technology.
It's
By
Some
Titus, this is... I've never seen anything like it in my life.
some sort of tilestone contraption or something.
She says, "Please, you have to understand, I never meant for things to turn out this way."
Yeah, but what is the problem with it? Other than its size?
Well, when I first started working on this project, I was simply trying to create a powerful sort of... a powerful sort of tool, I guess, that could be used to defend Kelrius from potential threats. We, at very expensive to our cause, managed to procure from the elves a preserved dragon's brain.
Fascinating.
That has been preserved for hundreds of years.
Is it alive in there?
Well, this is the thing. We did soon realise that the brain was still functional in the same way. And now we are concerned that if we were to turn it on, it might go berserk. I began to realise the true nature of what I was doing, really. I was taking a living creature and turning it into a machine.
That's wrong. Objectively, that is just horrible.
Fascinating.
Not sure,
Taran-
not sure that's what objectively means, but
It is objectively wrong in the sense that it is turning something that once held sentience into a weapon to be used against its own will.
I mean,
It's
that's very
brilliant.
subjective.
Well,
Brilliant.
this is my concern, that Taryn has put out for a specialist elf scientist who will be arriving in the city sort of any day, who may have enough knowledge about brains to be able to cut out the parts of its consciousness and only reduce it just to a tool that we may be able to use. I am concerned that I cannot sit by and let such a thing happen to a creature that we have now effectively brought back from the dead.
Yeah, I kind of agree. I don't think it's very nice.
That is blatantly cruel. Yeah.
Think of the advancement we made with this.
The progress does not need to come at the cost of other living things.
Oh, progress always comes at the cost of something.
I have to agree with Henning on this one.
No one has seen a living dragon for 40 years.
Maybe that's for the best.
Or maybe you could learn from it. Or maybe it belongs in the ground.
So what do you want us to do? I feel like this is a big thing.
I should have stopped the project before it ever got this far, but I couldn't bear the thought of being responsible for killing such a creature now that I've given it the potential for life. But
Do you want us to kill us? Kill it.
Do you not think releasing it could have catastrophic consequences for Keldrius? Like
Yes.
this dragon isn't just going to
no,
melt the entire
no,
city.
this is why I'm worried. I feel like I'm
Oh,
stuck either way. I cannot order it killed, but
Well, then you need to cut out the bit of its brain that gives it its scent. Reduce it down to a weapon, surely. So then it'll only do what you command it to do.
That is wrong.
I mean, is that really so much more wrong than sending thousands of men to their deaths?
No, it belongs in the ground. It was dead. It should stay dead. This borders on necromancy, just without the magical bits.
So?
It's unnatural. It's cruel.
Look, what's cruel is men fighting wars. Thousands of lives, hundreds of thousands in the big ones.
This, I would just like to point out, this weapon would be a big turning in the upcoming war for us.
This could save lives. Lots
but
of
what
them.
if it was to be seized by the banking guild?
Well, they won't get it now.
It would also in the war be used against men.
In place of them, though.
I think the sheer terror this weapon would inflict would bring a surrender quite quickly.
If it doesn't waste them to ashes first.
Of course, some will die, but far less will die than an all-out war. 1,000 lives for millions, maybe?
What do I do about it?
Well, if it were up to me, I would say continue your work, but what do I know?
I can't do that.
Then it needs to be killed.
Can you? Is the issue, can you kill it? Is that why you're so scared?
The thing stopping me from killing it is I'll have to. At the moment, it's in a suspended state. Removing the assistance to it may have the unintended effect of waking it up. But if we
Can't
could collapse the mine or do something to
How
cause
do we
the
know that
disaster.
collapsing the mine will actually kill it, though? It is a dragon.
Dragon made of parts.
It's still a dragon.
I just
Did-
needed to show you it.
Did you not think about maybe giving it a less able body before waking it up? First off.
Does it have a name?
I have not heard any name. We haven't woken it up yet.
Just seems to me, before you arm it with all, just kind of gesture vaguely in its direction to the whole thing, before you arm it with all this, maybe you see what its intentions are, right? See what waits for you when you wake up.
It should at least know what's coming.
Well, my potential time is running out. Once it has been operated on, it will be the perfect tool, the perfect weapon, and Taran will be able to use it for anything he wishes. The amount of time I have to potentially stop what I think might be a big mistake is running out.
If Taran's mind is corrupted, or not even his mind, his morals. Remember the meeting. He is planning on, or at least he thinks that conflict is going to happen with the elves. If he gets the intention that we cannot sort anything out, innocent people will be burnt to death.
He did mention that the a preemptive strike against House Rexus would not be off the table.
House Ignis.
I thought it was Rexus, he said.
No,
No,
he's
Ignis.
against.
Oh, okay.
He has a sort of like a pretty good alliance with House Rexus because they're just quite weak.
Oh, okay, fine.
But it's House Ignis that he has the big issue with.
Okay.
Well, that would be the end of House Ignis.
Not like that, no. Only those who deserve it. We can't risk this being used like that. It would.
Why is it our choice if what happens here? Who gives us the authority?
And why is this worse than a fleet? Why would you rather see two fleets going at it than one fleet burn to this?
I would rather us sort out the problem ourselves and not initiate a conflict.
I mean, interfering here is going to not help with that. If word gets back that we sabotaged the Merchant Prince project, how's that going to land us? How's that going to help us in this war? Nah.
How is the death of innocents going to help us?
You keep throwing that out there like it's some, like, guaranteed thing. Like, this is...
What do you think a dragon's going to do against a city? Do you think it's going to... its breath is going to... what's the word? Discriminate against people? No, it's going to burn where it burns. That's what fire does.
These countries... Well, sorry. These groups, these cities, these factions, they're already armed. People already die in war. People are already slaughtered en masse for the sake of it. The question is, do you want to be on the winning side or not?
I would rather die than sacrifice my morals. I will not put innocents to the death because it makes things easier for me.
Well, I think I think that was always the case.
Oh, when one side has overwhelming power, lives are saved, not given. It's in even
He's
battles
going to
that the
demonstrate
most
his
death.
power through a preemptive strike. He thinks the only way, if we can't sort out the conflict ourselves, is to attack. And that means this dragon is going to fly to that city and it's going to murder.
Like you want to do.
I want to take out a few people.
In the scope
not
of this,
a whole city.
in the scope of a war, that's what this is.
That would kick off a war. The
A
elves
war
would
that would end
Yeah.
quickly.
The elves would not take kindly to one of their cities burning at the hands of a weapon designed by men.
And it would destroy any hope we have of securing an alliance between the Elven High Lords and the Adenir Merchant Company. The elves will see that we have a weapon and they will want to destroy it.
Why don't we just... There must be a different way. Could we not just, like... Is this not a matter for Don Aiden, huh? Surely Kutaban can talk some sense into his peer.
Unless Kutaban agrees.
Well,
They may very well.
but that is their war. This is not our war. Our job is to get them on side for his war.
We have been given the authority to do whatever we can to secure an alliance between the Elven High Lords and the Adenir Merchant Company. That is our mission, and that comes first.
And do you think making an enemy of Taran's gonna help with that?
You think making an enemy of the elves is going to help with that?
I do not mean to be rude, but I think we are just going to talk ourselves in circles again and again on this one. I do not
I
see
agree.
anyone getting anywhere here.
We don't
think-
have time.
Well, I think we need time. I think we need time to walk away from this and to think.
I agree.
Making a decision based on emotion and anger and it's never been good for me before. I'm sure the same would probably be for you as well.
It's not just emotional anger. If this thing is allowed to continue,
Look,
it's only going to cause more conflict.
Sure, but whatever choice we make here, something else is going to go wrong. You could argue a complete narrative around us. Whichever way we go, it is going to cause problems, no?
There is no
destruction. If it is me, I just walk away from here. It's not my business.
There's no
And I
perfect.
appreciate your morals are very strong, and it is an enviable quality. But it is not our business.
There is no perfect solution in all of this. Any decision that is now made will result in death. We just have to try and pick the one that results in the least death. And in my
Actually-
eyes, the least death will be caused by this weapon being made.
But we could
By
disagree
a
on that
dragon
one.
burning down a city.
Oh, come on.
It'll save a war.
Really?
Nobody's going to go to war when your enemy's got that.
The enemy has gods and magic.
We have a dragon.
A dragon can't kill a god.
Elves don't really have magic.
I
Or-
mean the banking guild.
Oh, yeah, they do have magic.
They don't really have gods either. I mean, I don't see gods walking around.
In a
Business.
way, I do also want to agree with Cascus here. I don't. I sort of agree this isn't really our place. I'm a bit kerfuffled as to why we've been dragged into it, but I don't think we should really be getting too involved.
I just don't really see an inherent difference between this dragon and a fleet.
I agree, Counselor.
Like he
However,
could,
as
he
Casper
he,
said-
he already said, his fleet outnumbers Ignis, outpowers House Ignis massively. If he doesn't have this dragon, maybe he sends that fleet up to take him out.
You don't know elves. They're bound by honor and conflict and bravado.
And you are asking us to do a big thing when we go to House Ignis, no? It would be wise not to try and push too hard on this, no?
I didn't say that you had to help me. In fact, I told you quite the opposite.
But you still expect our compliance to some extent, right?
No. I expect you to do what you think is right.
Okay. Oh, it was so much easier when I had employees. You just make a decision. This is ridiculous.
I would just like to walk away from this and just. This has nothing to do with us, as council said.
I'm inclined to agree.
I am going to walk away from this, but if you are feeling so strongly about this that you feel the need to do something, then what can I do, no? We do not have to act in unison on everything within this group.
I
If
agree.
we are a group. You're free to do what you wish,
I will be walking away as well.
You don't need to be attached to this. I'll do what I must.
So what are you gonna do?
I think we're just gonna go up to, I suppose we go up to Althea Cresswell and say, thank you for raising your concern with us, but I'm afraid there is nothing we can do. It's not our business to get in the way of what I understand is a very, very horrible situation you are in.
I understand. I just hoped that because you weren't from here, you might be able to do what I could not.
Cyan's gonna stick around and see what he can do.
Yeah, I guess we those who don't leave, I guess.
Yeah.
Whilst just as a thing, whilst Henning is leaving, he would like to have a look around to see if there's any of that alloy that he was meant to be gathering for that weapon. Yes, just in case there's any that's been abandoned around here in this mine.
Make a perception check.
Come on, Henning, you can do this. 24.
You don't really know what it looks like, but you do find like a whole bunch of samples of what's it says Gezeret samples.
Okay. Is there about a kilo worth of it?
There's probably like to be fair, you could probably just nab about a kilo's worth.
Yeah, Henning's gonna grab a kilo's worth.
Cool. There seems to be samples from the soil around.
Okay. Yeah.
Right, you
he
put it in
grabs
your bag as you're leaving, and you leave. Alright, Cyan. So you stay behind. A few of the scientists are looking really nervous. And Althea says, I'm not entirely sure how we should do this. Do we just kill it?
I think it deserves to know.
Do you want to wake it up?
I don't want to, but this thing should have never been brought back to begin with. Whatever we do here, we've landed ourselves, well, you've landed us, I should say, in a situation where any choice we make is going to hurt.
Yes, it's understandable. Yes, we should at least let it know.
Scientists should prepare the explosives.
She nods to the scientists, and they begin to sort of lay out various charges around the walls and the ceiling. prepared to sort of like just collapse the ceiling on it if they need. Althea goes over to sort of a central, what seems to be like some sort of central station that has like pressure valves and like wheels on it, and she begins to sort of twist and turn them, and a lot of the valves begin to sort of go up, and then there's a few lights, kind of almost like alchemical bulbs begin to like glow, and like there's like a whooshing sound. Begin to hear all the clockwork machines that make up the body all begin to tick in their different clock speeds before they all begin to tick at once, and you hear this sort of quite low rumbling of a as you begin to see the body moving slowly, as almost like going up its spine, all the different gears and cogs that begin to whir. The wings begin to flap out and inwards, and there's sort of like a low kind of whooshing sound as it's got kind of lungs, like made of leather bags that begin to open up and close, and you hear this like large whooshing sound. The dome where the brain is begins to light up. There's like a blue glow that comes from it, and its red eyes begin to turn into blue eyes that glow out, and it begins to move. It raises its head and says, where am I?
You're under a mountain. Hang on, let me just double check the thing a second. Where was the mountain put? Sorry, I don't see it anywhere.
So there's two names for the mountain. There's a name in common, which is Oracrest, and then there's another one called Eldrianor.
You're under Eldrianor.
The machine it begins to move in a very like kind of janky fashion. It sort of does look very much like it's kind of trying to work out how to use its body, as its claws begin to like retract in and out, and its fingers go up and down, and sort of bashes into the ground.
I'd recommend patience. Take things slow, okay?
What is this? Sort of like looking around. I can see, but it is not like I used to.
I understand. This was a mistake, and I only want to give you my sincerest apologies. Do you have a name?
I did. I was Anakin.
Anakin. Can I have that in the chat, please?
Okay. And he says, You're an elf. He looks over, and you see his nose begins to come close up to you. He like sniffs. No. You are something different.
Would it help if I showed you?
Ah! He sort of like shakes his head. Kaidos! I will have my revenge.
What did Kaidos do?
Darren Kaidos. He took my eggs. Killed my children. He sort of like begins to like smack his head on the ceiling, and just like sort of dust begins to fall down from the ceiling, and the sort of the arms and legs where they're tied up with chains, they begin to flex and sort of groan as it sort of begins moving quite uncomfortably, like trying to get itself to move.
I need you to understand something, okay? But I need you to be patient whilst I help you to understand the situation we're in. Can you do that for me?
He just like starts saying, "Let me out!" And the chains begin to creak even more. The ceiling begins to like dust begins to shower down from the ceiling quite strongly now at this point.
Nix, a little help?
You see that Althea is sort of like looking over to one of the scientists and says, "Do it now." And the scientist begins to walk over to the detonation, sort of like plunger. After a couple of seconds, she reaches it, and she puts her hand on it and begins to push it down. But you notice that the tail of the dragon snaps back and just sort of whacks her off the thing, and says, as it looks around, it says, "No, I will not be defeated here," and just like begins to really struggle. So it's going to make a strength check.
Can I try and convince it to slow down?
Make a diplomacy check.
Okay. Come on. Diplomacy, where's diplomacy? There it is. 22?
22. What are you saying to it?
Arakin, listen. What happened has happened, but you need to slow down. We're not trying. We only want to help you.
Liar! He looks over to you, and his entire face is completely dwarfs you, but he's having trouble opening his mouth. So he like tries to open to like bite at you, but his mouth kind of half opens.
Arakin,
You just like step back.
you've been dead so long. I don't know how long. But listen. People have been trying to use you, and I'm trying to stop that from happening. But there's only one way that happens. Do you understand me?
He sort of like looks over to you. What are you saying?
The one who did this to you is probably already dead, and if not, I promise you, I can avenge your hatchery, your mate on your behalf. But if you survive, you will only be... People will only use you as a slave.
He looks over at you and says, "Is Darren Kaidas still alive?"
Can I... Do I know if Darren Kaidas is still alive?
Yeah, Darren Kaidas is the leader of House Kaidas. He's quite old.
He is ancient and still leads House Kaidas.
I will have his head. He snarls. Right, let's finish there for the day, and we'll get back into it next session then.
Okay.
It's 10 o'clock.
Right.
What have I done?
All right.
Oh, we gonna be pissed at you.
Yeah, it seems way more fucked up than just killing it in its sleep. Right. See you next week, EastEnders.